Okay, I am back. I will find out exactly what happened there, but apparently I was just booted. Uh, if it happens again, then I don't know. So maybe I have no idea what happened there. I've never had it just boot on me before. So this is take two after YouTube booted me. So we are back. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. I don't know what that was all about. But I was just booted. I lost my train of thought, but that's all right. We will see if we can continue on. All right. So let's see. We got Father Crane. All right. Eric Gillette. I started talking about Eric, and all of a sudden I was booted. But I wasn't saying anything bad. I was just saying, okay, so I say nice things about Eric because his company and Iconic Comics has the same philosophy in terms of fulfillment and distribution of books and trying to have some sort of consistency to what you're doing, multiple releases a year, and then just the same philosophy about trying to continuously improve. All right, so this is what I was talking about in the first stream that got cut off. When I first started it, I was like, yeah, so here and there's people that get like really bent out of shape whenever I say something nice about the guy. So here's a good example of this. So this guy, every time he comes out with a new book, for the past like year and a half, 2 years, these people have been saying that he's going broke. He's not going, like, it's going out of business sales and blah, 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 blah. It's just an attempt to try and tear him down in any way possible. Again, if you don't like his books, whatever. Like some people, like, that was the thing is I recently, well, we'll talk about that. I likened, I said that Eric July, if he started working at Little Debbie, you know, they have the cosmic brownies and they got the zebra cakes and they got the Nutty Buddy, I think it is, and Star Crunch and all of these sorts of snacks. If Eric July started working at Little Debbie, then people would say, you know, they would start complaining about how the cosmic brownies are not the brownies that we need, and you should only get the brownies that take 3, 4, 5 years to come out after the time you order them, and you might not even get them, but maybe you will, but they're going to be the greatest brownies ever. So yeah. So let's see. I got to hear Doug's review of Bloodruth. I think you're going to like it, bro. So that's the other thing is how do I say this? Whenever I talk about anybody, any other creator, you can go back in time. There are people who we're going to talk about here in a second. Our old buddy Ethan, he talks crap about me on a regular basis. I don't review his books. I don't trash his books. I don't go around to people that lie about me and like say anything about their books. So if it's another creator, I will sometimes say I'm biased. Like if it's internal, if it's at Iconic Comics, I'll be like, dude, this book rocks. But obviously, conflict of interest. I admit it. I work at I'm here at Iconic. I'm doing my thing. So, try and parse out my own bias from the objective truth or whatever. But when it comes to other creators, I stay away from talking about their books, and I let the readers have at it. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, fine. But I'm trying to find this proper middle ground where it's like if somebody's doing something cool, like fulfilling thousands of orders in a short amount of time, then I want to be able to, say that is what you're supposed to be doing. When you say you're going to do something, you got to try and do it. You got to try and be a man of your word. And so I've done this, and you got these people that are coming out of the woodwork who never even say a word to me and says, do you talk about anything else? This is getting weird now. You could go through my entire feed. I barely even here and there, I will sometimes talk about Eric, but go through my feed. It's Mike, Great series, upstanding creator. Can't recommend enough. Soul Finder. Eric, couldn't agree more about Soul. These are people. Soul Finder is a really good read. Soul Finder, new arrivals from iconic comics. Soul Finder, Long Harbor. Tim's book, Catholic. Thomas Kempis, Solitude and Silence. I'm in Panera reading religious books and, sharing my thoughts. Thomas Kempis, again, Kindred Heavens, Food, Soul Finder, Food, Iconic Comics, Flintstones. We are Flintstone kids. Studio Baba. Let's see. Oh, here you go. Magnum PI. All right. G.I. Joe, Tracker. My dad got me Tracker when I was a very, very little boy. And I'll always remember Tracker. Like, what are people talking about? I talk about Eric July here and there. Oh, no. Somebody else. Renee, she said a good thing about Iconic Comics. Am I not allowed to retweet Renee because she said something nice about Iconic being able to G.I. Joe? I mean, what are these people talking about? I do not talk about Eric that much at all. It's really weird. So let's see. Anyway, so this guy says this, and it's like, I just reply, my feed is filled with all sorts of content. If you can't take it that I talk about Eric in addition to my other indie comic talk, then that's a you problem. You're objectively wrong, since people can scroll through my feed and count the posts and compare. I mean, geez, how many posts have I gone through? Soul Finder, Texas Indie Comics, Mac and Cheese, with the Fossili, Soul Finder. All right. I mean, just keep going through. Like, again, the dude's objectively wrong. So this is what these people do. Let's see. Ratpour says Hut alt in the comics. That would be funny. Yeah, no, I guess. Oh, I'm apparently being accused of white guilt because Eric July is able to fulfill thousands of books in a short amount of time. You're not allowed to say. I mean, I welcome it. If people want to say that it's white guilt to congratulate someone for actually getting their books out when they said they were going to get their books out, like that is, I welcome that argument. So, all right, yeah, let's have those two points of view clash and see which one comes out on top. I think the one about getting happy readers their books in a timely manner wins over white guilt. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And but anyway, so this is what these guys do is then they come back with, with your gee whiz and your golly gosh and your vague accusations. So I don't even know what vague accusations means. I don't really move on already. This Shiza was just 8 years ago. You are just like them. Customer lost. Talk down to me. Now, here's the thing. Read this exchange here. This is someone who comes out of the blue and says something that is objectively wrong. We can go through my entire feed. I don't just talk about Eric. Starts calling me weird. And then when I'm just like, yeah, dude, you're wrong. I don't know what you want. Then all of a sudden I am like a fake nice guy, golly gee whiz, Bruce McGilligers, Heidely ho neighbor sort of situation. Customer lost, talk down. I mean, this is what these people do. And this account no longer exists, but I'm like, yeah, I just gave a mild response. I don't even know, anyway, so if you're gonna lose customers because you just said Eric is doing a good job with his fulfillment and distribution and looking after his own readers and customers, then yeah, very interesting. So And then we got this guy, the white guilt guy in the comments section here, like saying all sorts of weird, strange, like if you don't, okay, like obviously not a fan of mine, but we're just going to come in here and I don't know, like, don't you have anything more productive to do with your day? You really don't like me that much. Like there's probably all sorts of nice things you can do outside that are more productive with your time than talking about white guilt. But I digress. So anyway, let's see here. All right. So, this was the thing. So vague accusations. I don't make accusations that aren't backed up by objective reality. So this is an example of where this guy, customer loss guy, because he can't take it that he was wrong, talking about the vague accusations or whatever. So I wake up, and here's an example. I woke up this morning and people sending me clips of brittle ego YouTubers saying I need Eric July and Iconic needs him as well, which is funny coming off Iconic's anime Sunika as we gear up for Bell County Comic-Con. Also, Soul Finder 5 will not be crowdfunded. Eric and Iconic have a friendly and professional relationship. I know that is hard for people to grasp when they are drowning in late campaigns and dependent on transactional relationships on YouTube. Iconic has a lot of fun for you that is just over the horizon. No e-bigging or super chats necessary. Okay, so I'm assuming these are the kind of posts that are allegedly about something like from 8 years ago. But in reality, it's about stuff like this. I wake up in the morning and this is exactly the kind of stuff that I get to see. So our old buddy Ethan, who says nobody gives an F about me, is streaming about me. Why? Because I said something nice about Eric July. So very interesting. So this is the kind of stuff since 2018 I get to wake up in the morning, and this is the kind of stuff that I get to see. And it's fine, I don't care, but like I'm just making a general point that this is weird. So all right.
Yeah. Doug Ernst is a fucking retard. There's something wrong with this guy.
All right, remember that. All right, there's something wrong with me.
This article does a good job of doing a quick overview about the way this all happened. And when people like Douglas Ernst, great comic skater. Do you ever?
Which one am I? Am I, the knuckle dragging buffoon, or am I a great YouTuber?
You do go there, right?
Yeah, I watch his channel. I've been on streams with him a few times too. I really enjoy talking to him. He's sharp.
Yeah, he's a journalist. He works for the Washington Times, and then he's been criticizing Comicsgate, criticizing the comics industry from a proto Comicsgate standpoint for years.
Yeah,
way before anyone else.
Way before anybody else.
This guy had a blog. He was noticing the rumblings of leftism erupting in the comic book industry. I saw it too from the ground. I was with it, and when people like Douglas Ernst, great comic skater.
So again, all right, let's go back. Here we go. This is what I get to wake up to in the morning.
Doug used to be like kind of important on the scene. He was the first guy. He decided to go after Dan Slott and torture Dan Slott every single day. He got his clout because Dan Slott actually responded to him once on CBR. And so Doug rode that fucking hobby horse into the ground. The problem is Doug's videos were boring.
Really? Hold on, let me see it. Oh.
And when people like Douglas Ernst, great comic skater. Do you ever go? Yes. You do go there, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what am I boring? Do I have just rotten content, or am I great? Which one is it? I don't know.
All of his Comicsgate related videos were preachy and boring. They lacked any humor whatsoever.
Oh yeah, is it? I don't know. Let me see.
People like Doug Ernst, Douglas Ernst, great comic skater.
All right. Here we go.
All right, so I'm just going to get right into it. Doug, I think, and you correct me on this, but you might be the first real comic skater. All right, so I'm just going to get right into
the first real one. The real one. So real, so good.
They weren't funny. It was just him. The only thing that was funny about it was him chasing around Dan Slott. And Dan Slott is, torturing him is funny. If you whipped him and stuff, like it would be fun. The noises he would make if you whipped him would be kind of funny.
You know what would be funny is being a personal trainer for Dan Slott, like making him do push-ups, shit like that. Like that would be fun.
All right, so Doug Ernst working at the ball wash, everybody. And that's what these guys do. Like they sit there and they kind of go, okay, fuck, we fucked up Comic Skate. There's nowhere else that we can go.
All right, do you get that? So here we go. I am the one. I messed up Comic Skate. I haven't been involved in Comic Skate since 2018. I tried to quietly back myself slowly out of the room and keep to myself and say nothing. It was me and Tim. After these guys went after Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini, and then they went after Soul Finder Demons match, I was like, I don't want anything to do with these guys. These guys got problems. So now in 2025, this guy is saying that I don't have anywhere to go. I, along with Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini and Eric Canetti, but going back to the very beginning, we built the place where we are. Iconic Comics. See, that's the thing. I'm not homeless. I actually have people who really like Soul Finder, and they really like Tim and Mark's books, and they like Kindred Heavens, and they like Butch Killigan, and they like Long Harbor, and they like Punchline, and they like Black Ops, and they like Arc Athena, and all these books. So, and they're getting new books. So the idea that I need Eric July doesn't even make any sense unless you're in a little bubble of people that have been conditioned like Pavlovian dogs to believe whatever they're told about anybody outside of their little safe space that they created for themselves. So the idea that I ruined Comicsgate is actually very funny since I haven't been involved in comics. Somehow I must be involved with Ethan Van Sciver's Rainbow the Brute book. When did it launch? Was it 5 years ago? So it's not me. I had nothing to do with Ethan being unable to fulfill his own books. You can go to his own campaign pages to see the laundry list of people that are like, hey, refund, 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 refund. I want my book. I want my book. I want my book. All this sort of stuff. Comicsgate in 2025, if you start looking into it, there's more people that talk about Ethan being involved romantically with urinals than comic books. So, I mean, come on now, guy. Jeez. And Shane, this guy, I never even said a word about this guy. I don't have anything to say about him. And of course, he's just, you want to talk about that? What?
So what do? I guess we have to ball wash Eric July. And so Doug Ernst, by the way, most of the tweets that he puts out there are completely ball washing Eric July.
Really? Are they? Are they? Let's see here. Ba 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 ba. Eric Canetti, Soul Finder, Soul Finder, Soul Finder, Common America, Soul Finder, Thomas Kempis, Catholic Church, Kindred Heavens, food equivalent of Asian Hot Pockets, but not, but better. Soul Finder, all right, Hot Pot, Anime Sunika, Flintstones Vitamins, 10 million strong and growing, Magnum PI, Tracker. No, it seems like once again objectively wrong. Wah, wah.
It's unreal. Doug Ernst cost Iconic Comics money.
All right. Yeah, I'm totally costing Iconic Comics money, right? Let's see. Great series. Upstairs. Can't recommend enough. Oh, there's a reader. Couldn't agree more about Soul Finder. Haven't ordered Long Harbor yet. Soul Finder is a really good read. One of the most unique graphic novels I've read in a long time. Long Harbor, a really eerie, unusual horror graphic novel, both well worth the time to read. New arrivals, Iconic Comics. Yeah, I'm costing. There you go. This is what happens to the brains of the people that are in this little echo chamber. They have they're completely detached from reality. They want to believe so badly that nobody is buying my books. Nobody is talking about my books, when you can just go to my X feed and see that plenty of people are buying my books and plenty of people are going to Anime Sunika. And we've got little race cars, little iconic comic mobiles with Patrick Redder with Soul Finder on them zipping around Texas. We got Heroes Con going to North Carolina and selling books in North Carolina with a nice little snazzy setup. If you go to Bell County Comic Con in this year, we'll just say that there might be some upgrades to the old booth there. So there you go. Dark Admiral March Hare. Doug, we know you are secretly doomed. VHS, read some Isom. All right. Educated Viking. It's sad that most of his viewers will believe what he says and never look at your page. Yeah, they're just, I mean, it doesn't even make, like, you want to talk about unreal. Oh, hey, there's a guy. Here's Royo in Japan. Hey, what's he got right there? He's buying Soul Finder bags. All right. So Japanese guys buying Soul Finder stuff. Could just keep going down the list. Very interesting. So, all right. The manga. There you go. Such a good scene. My favorite of it is Crane sacrificing himself with the grenade. Showed his character even back then. Literally, Iconic Comic readers talk about the books. They have favorite scenes that they are talking about on X. They can break down the characters and their motivations and what's going on, and they discuss the plots, and they talk about the virtue that is imparted within the stories. Kind of interesting to juxtapose reality, real, true, objective reality, what's going on with whatever is going on here. Doug Ernst costs Iconic Comics money. All right, guy. Yeah, you keep going with that. You see how that works out for you.
I believe that's true.
I believe that's true. Well, just because you believe something, it doesn't mean it's actually true. But actually, you want to know what you said you also believed back in the day?
The way this all happened. And when people like Douglas Ernst, great comic skater. Do you ever go? Yes. You do go there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you believe all sorts of things. Whatever it is you want to believe from day to day, that's what you believe. So if you want to hate Dan Fraga one day, then you hate Dan. If you want to love Dan one day, then you love Dan. And the history just changes over and over and over and over, depending on what these Pavlovian dogs that you've conditioned to believe whatever you say from moment to moment need to believe. You'll just say whatever.
Nobody's reading his comic. Wow, this is...
Nobody's reading his comics. I mean, other than the people that keep talking about Reginald Crane keeping his promise to his parents, coming back the war, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, nobody is reading the comics except all the people that are actually reading the comics. So just keep lying to yourself, Ethan. See how that goes. It's gone really well for Comicsgate for the past however many years. So about just keep telling your lies about Iconic Comics and Rippaverse. Nobody is buying the books. All right, everyone's buying your books. Well, here's the thing. We could actually go to your campaign pages and see the trajectory of your books. We can see the refund requests. We can see the people that are mad. All right, so...
Racist from Doug Ernst on Black History Month. Are you?
I know. Yeah.
Why do you have to go to brownies? I mean,
I don't know.
Little
Good
Debbie
cookies.
makes a lot of other fucking things. I mean, why brownies?
They do.
Why brownies? Because I used to eat Little Debbie brownies when I was a kid. So I thought about Little Debbie brownies. So Shane could all he wants, but he just sounds ridiculous.
They make zebra cake.
They do make zebra cake.
You know. Doug Ernst. Ball washing Eric July, because that's what he does now. That's who this guy is. Used to work at the Washington Times. Not no more.
Oh, you totally got me there. I don't work at the Washington Times. Oh, wait, it's because I resigned so I can do Soul Finder books full time. And since I resigned from the Washington Times, I helped along with Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini and everybody down in Texas to build iconic comics. So I did whatever I wanted to do on my terms professionally. I did everything I wanted to do in Washington, D.C., and then when Soul Finder Demons Match came out and it did well, I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And then when Black Tide came out and that did well, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And then my wife was like, hey, maybe you should consider just doing Soul Finder books full time. And I was like, are you serious? Is that you think? And she's like, yeah, let's do this, because my wife is awesome. Like I said, I've been with my wife since 2002. And unlike Ethan Van Sciver, I saw that he was on a date with his wife somewhere out in New Jersey, and he left to go stream about stupid Comicsgate drama in 2025. Who does that? I mean, so Ethan, I hate to tell you, man, but my wife, who I don't abandon on dates to talk about stupid stuff, my wife supported Soul Finder, and I left the Washington Times so I could do Soul Finder. It's going incredibly well. If I wanted to go back into corporate media, I could, but I don't want to. In fact, I could have went to Fox News for a very lucrative contract. People that have followed me on Twitter for a long time know this. Fox News wanted to hire me, but on the condition that I not do the Soul Finder books. And I gave them the middle finger, and I left a very lucrative job so I can do Soul Finder. So whatever. And then Fox came back to me like 6 months later, and they're like, hey, can we look at your Soul Finder books again? Are you still interested in the job? And then I didn't even answer. I literally didn't even reply to them when they came back to me 6 months later, interested in having me work with them. So yeah, I left the Washington Times on my terms, and then I turned down Fox News on my terms. And then when Fox came back to me again, I turned them down again by not even answering. They knocked on the door, knockity, knock, 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 knock. Hey, Doug, hey, you want to come work with us, buddy? I didn't even answer the door.
Yeah. Doug Ernst says, if Eric July worked at Little Debbie, YouTube videos would pop up about how cosmic.
Notice the lispy voice that Ethan does at this point in time and compare it with this one. See, that's what he does when he goes from like
this all happened. And when people like Douglas Ernst, great comic skater.
Doug Ernst, great. He goes from that to his little lispy voice. That's what he does when he doesn't like you. Suddenly you magically become gay.
All right, so I'm just going to get right into it. Doug, I think, and you correct me on this, but you might be the first real comic skater.
The first real one. Sorry, Ethan. I know that disturbs you that I'm the first real one. That's the problem that he has, is that he knows that I got all the receipts of Ethan calling me the first real one, a great comic skater, and it doesn't match with his revision of history that he wants now.
Brownies aren't the brownies we deserve, and the world would be a better place if brownie lovers ordered indie snacks that may or may not arrive by 2030. This is a tortured, laborious attempted ball washing Eric July.
You know what is a tortured and laborious thing to watch? the destruction and the slow demise of Comicsgate under the alleged leadership of Ethan Van Sciver. That is laborious and very tough to watch, especially as the first real one to walk away from Ethan Van Sciver, along with Captain Cummings and Englentine and everybody else that followed suit. So it was Captain Cummings, me, and a whole slew. You could go down the list. There is many people that have walked away from Ethan Van Sciver.
And by the way, I just said, you know what, Eric, though I could fuck up a cup of coffee. And I didn't know, I just said that. Comicsgate drama goes.
Wait, no. You mean Comic Book Hut. Let's get it straight there. Your buddy, Comic Book Hut.
That was a line from the Casino. And I completely forgot that. I was like,
yeah, you know why Comic Book Drama, aka Comic Book Hut, knew that it was from Casino? Because he loves all those movies. Because Comicsgate Drama is Comic Book Hut.
I was just thinking, what could he fuck up? Something simple, a cup of coffee.
You know the scene from Casino?
So anyway, going back full circle here, on the guys that are not too happy with me for talking about Eric July and saying that I just come up with random vague things. I don't talk about somebody unless they initiate. They are the ones telling literally thousands of people. This has gone on. 20,000 people have watched this particular stream. 20,000 views. Okay, maybe it's not 20,000 people. We'll just say that there's duplicate views or something like that. Let's lower it. Let's say 15,000 people are watching this. So I think that on rare occasions I can point out that this is the things that are being said there are a revision of history.
All right, so I'm just going to get right into it. Doug, I think, and you correct me on this, but you might be the first real comic skater.
Yeah, real, legitimate, authentic. Unlike yourself, who came in years later and admitted to Captain Cummings that he quote-unquote hijacked Comicsgate to turn it into his own personal little, whatever, his own little kingdom, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he calls himself a king. So there you go. It's Ethan and his little kingdom of Pavlovian dogs that will believe him when he says that nobody buys my comic books, except all the people that are buying my comic books and buying Common America and buying Black Hops and buying Kindred Heavens and all the other books and going to Anime Sunica and going to Bell County Comic Con. And so I mean, new arrivals. There you go. New arrivals from Iconic Comics. Let's see, Mr. Grohovac, YouTube booted you? Yeah, I got booted. I don't know what was going on there. That was interesting. So anyway, thank you, Paul's NYC. Really appreciate it. Soul Finder, really good read. One of the most unique graphic novels I've read in a long time. So, check out Log Harbor as well. So, yeah, nobody's reading the books there. Nobody's reading the books. Sure, dude. Whatever you say. Very interesting. All right. So, if you're coming in now, YouTube gave me a boot at some point in time. I don't know what that was all about, but I got the boot from YouTube. And I came back. So, who knows what happened. But I think I said my piece. Like I said, if you see me, if I say something on Twitter, if I'm responding to someone, I don't always like to give certain things oxygen, but I'm not just out of my butt randomly saying things about 2018. No, it's because somebody is speaking to 15,000 or 20,000 people in videos, just saying that nobody reads my books and blah, 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 and just saying all sorts of stupid things that are dishonest and not true. And again, it doesn't really matter because I've ignored like 95% of it. And again, you've seen the trajectory of Iconic Comics since its inception years ago. So let's just continue to follow Iconic Comics over the next 5 years or whatever. And they're irrelevant. All of these people that are streaming on YouTube spending like 40 hours a week plus. It's got to be more than that. Whatever. So their full-time job is to YouTube and just essentially do whatever they can to cause drama and strife amongst people for super chat money. And then they talk about how it's so great that they're getting all the super chats because people are so angry and riled up emotionally and all this sort of stuff. It has nothing to do with actually getting books out on time to people who like the books. So thank you, Mike, for reading the books. Really appreciate it. Anyway, let's see. Charlie, he's really trying to hide that lisp. Educated. You both left a corporation, but you are actually seeing real success. Seems like Ethan needs a manager to keep him on track with his work. Matt says Doug left a corporate job. Ethan was quietly escorted out of the building. Yeah, I left the Washington Times on they didn't particularly want me to leave because I was one of the highest traffic getters at the website. And the problem at the Washington Times is that there was a lot of people who were there from the 1980s in the pre-internet days, and they really didn't like it that there was somebody there who can turn over stories quickly that brought in an insane amount of traffic to the website, whereas they were like 70 years old or whatever, and they needed 3 days to write one story that should take them like an hour or two. And so there were people at the Washington Times, like geezer guys, no offense, but they were geezers, and they really didn't like the quote unquote young guys out there that can do in a couple hours what it would take them days to do. They wanted to just relax at the old pace of like 1987 and call some people, and maybe they'd wait for 10 hours until they got a call back, and then they got this and that, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. I left because I didn't need to be micromanaged by a new boss when I was bringing in like more traffic than almost anybody else at the website. And like I said, I could have worked at Fox News for a lot of money, and I turned it down so I can do Soul Finder. So the idea that like, oh, he's not at the Washington Times anymore. Oh, that's the thing, is a lot of these guys, they liked the idea that I was at the Washington Times because they liked being able, they saw some sort of use in being able to be like, I know Doug Ernst. He's the Washington DC reporter who works at the Washington Times, and he goes to he could go to the Pentagon or the White House and blah blah blah. He could talks to FBI people and blah 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 whatever. He goes to like dinner events in Washington DC. People that just only care about finding a way to glom onto others for clout and stuff like that. They liked it when I was at the Washington Times, but when I left the Washington Times to just do comics, then they were like, well, he's not useful to me anymore. And in fact, all of these guys, they're on record as saying that everybody is like competition to them. And so if they can tear down somebody, then they could elevate themselves. So that's what they do. They basically try and chip away. They try and do more than that, but they try and chip away at somebody's reputation, because in their mind, when they're tearing you down, they're building themselves up. They look taller when you look smaller or whatever. So I left the Times, I left corporate media, and then I was just the writer guy who was doing independent comics. And then they thought that they could lie about me and, smear my name and smear my reputation and all sorts of stuff like that, because they really don't like the idea that Iconic Comics is thriving outside of their influence. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. Jefferson. Let me see. What is this? If the books are released once a year or longer in most cases, then I'm most interested in a contained story arc with enough plot threads to continue into another book. Doug Ernst Soul Finder series does this in an excellent way. I thought nobody was reading the books there, guy. No, they're reading the books. Rat says they saw you as a tool. That's how they treat people. You are only in their life if they feel like you are useful to them, if they can use you as some sort of tool to do something that they want to do, or leverage your status or your position or your career in a way that benefits them, then they're like, I'm your best friend. Ugh. But the second that you leave, but that was where they miscalculated. So this is the problem with Ethan and all these guys is I left the Washington Times and they're like, ooh, I can just use him for super chat fodder. I could destroy this guy. I could just like grind him into the ground for attention and blah, 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 and he'll be gone. But what he didn't understand is that Tim and Mark and myself and Eric Canetti and Matt Weldon and Bill Williams and all the people at Iconic Comics that are coming in, they're kind of built a little differently. If you think that isolating me is going to somehow be a detriment to my future success or whatever, but the possibility for success, they're completely wrong. Actually, isolating me only gives me more time to focus on the things that I need to focus on. Turning me into a boogeyman and lying about me and making me the devil in the eyes of people, it doesn't do anything, because all they did by ostracizing me was give me more time to focus on Soul Finder and Iconic Comics and to travel and to talk with people that are actually good, solid dudes who want the best for me in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. So that is their problem, is they miscalculated. They thought that they could just kick me in the head and I would die or fall unconscious professionally, and then they could go on. But no, you didn't. It didn't work, dude. And Soul Finder Volume 5 is on the way. Soul Finder Volume 6 is after that. More merchandise this summer. And yeah, I cannot wait until you guys see some of the stuff that Matt Weldon has been working on and the new merchandise and everything else. So if you get a chance, if you haven't checked out the coffee mug, check that out. Other merch is online. It's available. Thank you to everybody that has spread the word about Soul Finder and Iconic Comics. I appreciate you. And actually, thank you to the people out there that start telling 15 to 20,000 people lies about me, because these days, every time you lie about me, a certain percentage of your own audience checks out Iconic Comics and they realize you're just a liar, dude. There is a percentage. It is a very small percentage these days. The people that are left in Comicsgate under Ethan Van Sciver, like I said, most of them are just in an echo chamber and they will believe anything that they are told. But there always is a small percentage of people that will be like, well, let me check this out. Let me go to Iconic Comics. What is this? Common America? What is this? Soul Finder? And now the track record is clear. So the lies aren't working. And in fact, they're blowing up in your face. But that's the thing, is their ego is, they cannot accept that they were wrong. And so they keep doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on dishonesty and lies. And no matter how much it blows up in their face, they're like Wile E. Coyote. They just keep going. So these days, whether Ethan wants to admit it or not, his face is filled with ashes and carbon, and his, wait, he doesn't even have any hair anymore, or whatever hair is left, his beard, it's just filled with soot because explosions keep going off on his face. So keep telling 20,000 people lies about people that actually do what they said they're going to do. And it's not working out for you, dude. I hate to tell you, but you're going to do what you're going to do. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. But thanks for drawing attention to the sterling track record of Iconic Comics. I really appreciate that. So let's see. Tim was already an established author before CG really got started. That is true, too. Now you are guilty of a mind crime there, Dark Admiral Marchair. You start telling an accurate history about Timothy Lim, you're on the wrong side of some people that do not, they're not in favor of the truth. So anyway, all right, I think that's about it for now. Sorry about YouTube booting me earlier. Thanks again to everybody who's tuning in. I'll be back sometime in the near future. Hopefully it won't be another month. But again, appreciate everything. Thanks for spreading the word about Iconic Comics. You guys rock, and I'll see you later. See ya.